Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a room, maybe at a coffee shop, a workplace, or even at the gym, and you feel this pull? Not a loud signal, not a dramatic gesture, but something subtle, almost invisible. A glance, a pause, a certain softness in the way she speaks to you. And deep down you wonder, is this real? Is she secretly drawn to me, or am I just imagining things? Here's the truth. Women rarely shout their intentions from the rooftops. The most powerful signs are hidden, almost coded. And among them, there is one, yes, one irresistible sign that reveals more than words ever could. Today, we're going to uncover that sign through the lens of ancient wisdom, through the Stoic philosophy of Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, and through real-world stories you can immediately recognize in your own life. But stick with me until the very end, because what you'll discover here could change the way you see every interaction, every connection, and every opportunity that comes your way. This isn't just about women. It's about clarity. It's about mastering your emotions. It's about becoming the man who no longer chases, but instead attracts. That is the way of Stoicism, and it begins right now. Section 1. The Stoic Lens on Desire. Narrator. Before we reveal that one irresistible sign, we need to set the stage. Because here's the thing. If you don't understand the foundation, the sign itself won't mean much. Stoicism, a philosophy born in ancient Greece and refined in Rome, teaches us to focus on what is within our control and release what is not. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Now, how does that apply to relationships, attraction, and the mysterious signals women send? Simple. When you're desperate to decode every move, when you're obsessed with whether she likes you or not, you hand over your power. You stop being grounded, and instead you become reactive, chasing instead of leading. But when you adopt the Stoic mindset, you observe without attaching your worth to the outcome. You see signs for what they are, data, not destiny. And that's where the irresistible sign becomes so powerful, because once you know it, you don't have to guess, you don't have to chase, you simply recognize and act with calm certainty. Section 2. The Build-Up. Why most men miss the sign. Narrator. Now here's the sad reality. Most men will never see this sign, not because it's invisible, but because they're distracted. Think about it. Modern men are trained to chase validation. They scroll endlessly on apps. They compete for likes. They measure their worth by how much attention they can grab. But attention isn't attraction. Noise isn't signal. Stoicism teaches us that a wise man doesn't chase shadows. He notices patterns. He remains calm amidst chaos. So when a woman is secretly interested, she doesn't always spell it out. She doesn't always make the first move. Instead, she gives you this irresistible sign. But before I reveal it, let me ask, how do you usually react when you sense attraction? Do you overthink? Do you push harder? Or do you stay composed, letting her actions come to you? Most men ruin their chances because they break the very Stoic principle of control. They try to force connection instead of allowing it to flow. And here's where the irresistible sign comes in. It's subtle, but once you recognize it, you'll never unsee it. Section 3. The One Irresistible Sign. Narrator. So, what is this one irresistible sign that she secretly wants you? It's this. She creates opportunities to be in your presence when she doesn't have to. That's it. That's the signal that cuts through all the noise. Not a glance, not a flirty emoji, nah, not even casual compliments, because those can be surface level. But when she chooses, again and again, to be around you without obligation, that's the signal of desire. Think about it. She lingers. After conversations. She sits near you when she could sit anywhere else. She finds small excuses to cross your path. She chooses your company, not out of duty, but out of preference. Why is this irresistible? Because it reveals intent. Time is the most valuable resource anyone has. And when a woman willingly invests her time in you, that's no accident. That's attraction. Section 4. Stoic response to the sign. Narrator. Now, here's where Stoicism becomes crucial. Most men, when they sense this sign, will rush, pounce, or try to force the next step. But the Stoic man, he recognizes the sign with calm. He doesn't lose his composure. He doesn't let his emotions hijack his clarity. Instead, he simply acknowledges she's signaling interest. And then he continues to lead with strength, groundedness, and purpose. Remember this, the Stoic doesn't chase. The Stoic attracts. He builds himself into a man of value, and in doing so, he naturally draws others in. When the sign appears, he doesn't explode with excitement. He simply acts with quiet confidence, moving things forward without desperation. Section 5. Stories examples. Narrator. Let me give you a story. Picture Marcus, a young man working at a corporate office. He's disciplined, focused, always working on his projects. There's a colleague, let's call her Anna, who seems to find reasons to stop by his desk. At first, Marcus doesn't pay much attention. He assumes it's work-related, but then he notices Anna lingers even after the task is done. She laughs a little too long at his jokes. She chooses to sit near him in meetings when there are plenty of empty chairs elsewhere. This isn't coincidence, it's the irresistible sign. Now, most men would either miss it completely or jump too quickly, but Marcus, remembering Stoicism, simply stays calm. He acknowledges the sign, engages naturally, and continues to live in his strength. Over time, Anna's interest becomes undeniable. The connection builds, not because Marcus chased, but because he recognized and allowed attraction to flow. That's the power of the Stoic approach. Section 6. The psychology behind the sign. Narrator. Now, let's dive deeper. Why is this one sign, the fact that she chooses to be around you, so much more powerful than a compliment, a like on Instagram, or even a flirtatious look? It comes down to psychology. Human beings are hardwired to protect their most valuable resource, time. A woman may smile at many people, she may laugh in group settings, she may even compliment casually. But giving time voluntarily, without obligation, that's an entirely different investment. You see, psychology tells us that attention is cheap, but presence is priceless. Presence requires effort. She has to adjust her schedule, her choices, and sometimes even her comfort just to be in your space. That's not something done lightly. And here's where it gets fascinating. This kind of presence is rooted in desire. It's not about words, it's about action, and Stoicism reminds us to value action over appearance. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Similarly, women don't explain their attraction, they embody it through their choices. Section 7. Supporting hidden signals. Narrator. Now, while that one sign is the most undeniable, it often comes packaged with smaller signals that most men overlook. Let me break a few down for you. Extended conversations. She could answer in 2 words, but instead she expands. She asks you questions. She listens with genuine curiosity. This is more than politeness. It's investment. Physical proximity. Humans naturally respect personal space. but when she chooses to close the gap, to lean in, or to stand near when it isn't required, that's not random, that's attractive. On 3. Subtle mirroring. This one is almost strongest subconscious indicators of rapport and attraction. Playful resistance. Here's a paradox. Sometimes if she teases you or playfully challenges you, it's not rejection, it's connection. Why? Because it's effortful. Indifference requires no energy. Teasing requires engagement. Time dilution. Here's the kicker. If she's around you, she will unconsciously extend the interaction. She won't rush off. She'll stretch out conversations. She'll create reasons to stay. Again, it comes back to that resource, time. These hidden signals are like supporting actors in a movie. They aren't the main star, but they reinforce the story, and the Stoic man sees them, notes them, but doesn't become obsessed by them. He simply acknowledges. Section 8. The Stoic danger of overthinking. Narrator. But let me pause here, because there's a danger, a trap, that many men fall into. Over-analysis. Stoicism warns us against being ruled by our thoughts and emotions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Yet men often do the opposite. They give away their peace of mind by obsessing. Was that glance real? Did she mean it when she laughed? Why did she touch her hair? And before they know it, they're paralyzed, caught in a web of uncertainty. The Stoic approach? Simplicity. You don't need to decode every breath. You only need to see the pattern of presence. When she consistently chooses your company, that's the signal. No need for endless speculation. Section 9. Attraction without attachment. Narrator. Here's another principle of Stoicism. Detachment. Not detachment from people, but detachment from outcome. Imagine this. You notice the sign. She's showing presence. She's investing time. You feel the attraction. But then something shifts. Maybe she pulls back. Maybe life gets in the way. Maybe she wasn't as serious as you thought. What do most men do? They panic. They cling. They spiral into self-doubt. But the Stoic man, he accepts reality as it is. He doesn't chase. He doesn't beg. He doesn't let one woman define his worth. Because his value isn't tied to her reaction. It's tied to his own character, his discipline, his clarity. This is where you become magnetic. Because when you don't attach your identity to the outcome, you create a sense of calm strength. And women are irresistibly drawn to that. Section 10. Historical echoes. Narrator. Let me take you back in time. In the Roman Empire, Marcus Aurelius himself lived in a palace surrounded by people who wanted his attention, advisors, soldiers, family, even rivals. He could have been swayed by flattery, by false signals, by appearances, but he constantly reminded himself, look at actions, not words. He wrote in his meditations, if someone is mistaken, instruct them kindly, but if you can't, accept that they act according to their nature. Apply this to attraction. Don't get caught up in what she says. Look at what she does. Words may mislead, but presence never lies. This is why the irresistible sign is so powerful. It's rooted in action, not talk. And Stoicism teaches us to ground ourselves in what is real, not what is imagined. Section 11. Story-driven example. The gym encounter. Narrator. Let's walk through another story. David is a disciplined man who follows Stoic principles. He trains at his local gym every morning at 7 a.m. Over time, he notices something. A woman, let's call her Sarah, begins showing up around the same time. At first, he assumes it's coincidence, but soon patterns emerge. She changes her workout routine to use machines near his. She asks casual questions about exercises. Sometimes she lingers a little longer after finishing her sets, just to chat. David doesn't overthink. He doesn't leap into desperate pursuit. He simply acknowledges, this is the irresistible sign. She's choosing to be around me when she doesn't have to. So he engages naturally. He has conversations, stays grounded, and slowly attraction builds, not because he chased, but because he recognized and allowed. Section 12. Key takeaway: recognition, not obsession. Narrator. Here's the ultimate takeaway from Part 2. Don't obsess. Don't analyze every micro-expression. Instead, recognize the one undeniable pattern. She makes herself present. She creates opportunities to be near you when she has no obligation to. That is the sign. That is the signal. And once you see it, you'll never mistake it again. The Stoic man doesn't let his peace of mind hinge on small gestures. He looks at patterns, stays grounded, and leads with calm confidence. That's what makes him magnetic. Section 13. The moment of recognition. Narrator. All right, let's imagine this. You've spotted it. She's making herself present. She's creating reasons to be near you. She's investing her time, her most valuable resource, when she doesn't have to. This is the crossroads. Most men, right here, take the wrong turn. They either overreact, pouncing with desperation, underreact, ignoring it completely, letting the moment slip. So, what's the Stoic response? Calm recognition. You don't need to make a dramatic move. You don't need to over-celebrate. You simply allow the sign to register in your mind. She is showing interest. That's it. That's the first step. Recognition without reaction. Presence without panic. Section 14. The wrong moves most men make. Narrator. Let's talk mistakes, because if you avoid these, you'll already be ahead of 90% of men. Oh, the desperate jump. The moment they sense interest, they rush into it, over-texting, over-calling, overwhelming her with attention. This screams scarcity. It communicates, I don't get this often, so I must grab it before it slips away. Stoicism teaches us the opposite, abundance through self-mastery. The over-analysis spiral. He replays every gesture in his mind. She touched her hair. Does that mean something? She said my name twice. What does that mean? This isn't strength. This is weakness. The Stoic doesn't get lost in thought spirals. He trusts patterns, not fleeting moments. The passive ghost. Some men notice the sign but do absolutely nothing. They assume she'll take all the initiative. But attraction is like fire. It needs oxygen. If you ignore it completely, the spark dies. The ego explosion. Others let the sign inflate their ego. They think, she wants me. I'm in control now. And they start acting arrogant. This kills attraction instantly. Stoicism values humility, strength without showmanship. Section 15. The Stoic way to respond. Narrator. So, how do you respond the Stoic way when you notice the irresistible sign? 3 simple steps. Acknowledge internally. Notice the pattern. Register it. But don't let it hijack your emotions. Stay centered. Engage naturally. Continue the conversation. Invite her into your world. Share stories. Ask questions. But don't treat it like a victory lap. Treat it like a normal flow of life. Lead with purpose. At some point, guide the interaction forward. Suggest a coffee, a walk, a shared activity. But do it calmly, without fear. The Stoic doesn't ask for validation. He simply offers an opportunity and lets her choice reveal the truth. This way, you neither chase nor freeze. You simply respond with grounded presence. Section 16. Stoic exercises to build calm confidence. Narrator. Now, let's get practical. How do you actually train yourself to respond like this in real life? Because let's be honest, when emotions hit, it's hard to stay calm. Here are 3 Stoic exercises you can practice daily. Exercise 1. Negative visualization. Every morning, imagine losing what you take for granted, your health, your job, even your relationships. This isn't to depress you, it's to prepare you. When you imagine loss, you stop clinging, so if she pulls back tomorrow, you won't panic. You feel excitement rising, your heart racing, your mind overthinking. Practice a 3-breath pause before speaking or acting. This small habit gives you control over impulse. Exercise 3. Journaling the signals. At the end of the day, write down what you observed. Did anyone choose to be present around you? Did you recognize it? How did you respond? Over time, this builds awareness without obsession. These aren't abstract ideas. These are tools to anchor yourself, to stay calm, to act with strength. Section 17. Story. The Cafe Encounter. Narrator. Let me give you another story. Ethan sits at his favorite cafe working on his laptop. He notices a woman, let's call her Claire, who comes in a few times a week. At first it seems normal, but soon he realizes Claire changes her seat whenever Ethan is there. She sits closer. She asks about his work, even though she could sit in silence. This is the irresistible sign. Now, most men would either freeze or rush, but Ethan, practicing Stoicism, does something different. He stays calm, he enjoys the conversation, and after a few days he simply says, "Hey, I really enjoy these chats. Would you like to grab a coffee sometime when I'm not buried in my laptop?" Simple, calm, purposeful. Claire smiles and says yes. Attraction flows naturally, not forced, not desperate, but grounded. That's the Stoic way. Section 18. Attraction as a byproduct, not a goal. Narrator. This is where most men get it wrong. They treat attraction as the goal. But in Stoicism, attraction is a byproduct of your discipline, your presence, your strength of character. You don't chase it. You don't obsess over it. You build yourself. You live your values. And naturally, people are drawn to you. So when the irresistible sign appears, don't think, "Yes, I've won." Think instead, "This is a natural result of the man I've become." Marcus Aurelius never woke up thinking, "How do I get people to admire me today?" He thought, "How do I live according to virtue today?" And admiration followed naturally. That's the same energy you need in attraction. Section 19. Practical takeaway. Narrator. So here's your part 3 takeaway. Don't rush. Don't freeze. Don't inflate your ego. Instead, recognize the sign. Respond naturally. Lead calmly. And remember, attraction is not the goal. It's the byproduct of becoming a Stoic man. Section 20. What if you're wrong? Narrator. Now, let's face the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes you'll see what looks like the irresistible sign, but it's not. Maybe she's naturally friendly. Maybe circumstances made it seem like she was choosing your company when it was just convenience. Here's where most men spiral. They feel embarrassed. They feel rejected. Their ego shatters. But here's the Stoic principle. Rejection is not failure. It's simply information. Epictetus reminds us it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. The event, she wasn't actually interested. The judgment, I must not be good enough. That's the problem. Instead, shift the judgment. I misread the sign. That's okay. I'll observe better next time. No drama, no collapse, just clarity. Section 21. The Stoic method for handling rejection. Narrator. Here's a simple framework when things don't go as planned. Acknowledge reality. Don't deny it. Don't rationalize. Accept the truth as it is. Detach your worth. Her choice doesn't define you. Her decision reflects her preferences, her timing, her world, not your value. Extract the lesson. Did you rush? Did you assume too much? Did you misread signals? Learn, refine. Return to virtue. Refocus on what you can control, your discipline, your growth, your purpose. This is the Stoic method. Rejection isn't an end, it's a redirection. She's distant. 1 week she laughs at every joke. The next, she barely acknowledges you. Most men go crazy here. They oscillate between hope and despair, letting her inconsistency control their emotions. But the Stoic doesn't cling to uncertainty. He remembers, clarity is in patterns, not moments. If her presence is inconsistent, then the sign isn't strong. Period. Don't build castles in the sand. If the foundation isn't steady, don't invest. Stoicism tells us, don't tie your peace of mind to unstable ground. Section 23. Strength with compassion. Narrator. Now, some men, when they learn Stoicism, become cold. They think detachment means shutting off empathy. That's not Stoicism, that's arrogance. A true Stoic balances strength with compassion. When she shows interest, you respond with calm confidence. When she shows disinterest, you respond with kindness, not bitterness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly, but none of them can harm me." Apply this to attraction. People will sometimes confuse you, reject you, or pull away. That doesn't mean you harden your heart. It means you protect your peace while still wishing them well. That's strength with compassion. Section 24. Story. The workplace balance. Narrator. Let me give you a workplace example. James works in a corporate office. He notices a colleague, Mia, who often chooses to eat lunch near him. She lingers after meetings, chats about non-work topics, even laughs at his subtle jokes. James sees the irresistible sign, but he also knows workplace dynamics are tricky, so he applies Stoic balance. He engages with kindness, builds rapport, but doesn't cross lines recklessly. Eventually, he invites Mia for a casual coffee outside work. She declines politely, saying sauce. He values their professional relationship. Now here's the key. James doesn't sulk, doesn't resent, doesn't gossip. He simply accepts. He respects her choice, maintains professionalism, and continues with calm focus. That's Stoicism in action. Strength, compassion, and composure. Section 25. Story. The social circle. Narrator. Another example. Daniel is part of a close-knit group of friends. Over time, one of his friends, Emily, begins showing signs, sitting next to him, inviting him to hangouts, texting outside the group. Daniel notices. Instead of assuming, he engages with grounded curiosity. Eventually, he communicates directly but calmly. "I've noticed we've been spending more time together. I enjoy it. Would you like to go out, just us, sometime?" Emily admits she's interested. Attraction grows. But here's the key. If she had said no, Daniel would have accepted it gracefully, without drama, without jeopardizing the group. That's what makes a Stoic man rare. He doesn't let fear of outcome stop him, nor does he let rejection destroy him. Section 26. The Daily Roadmap to Embody Stoicism. Narrator. So how do you live this way consistently, not just in moments of attraction, but every day? Here. The core of part 4 is this. Mastery lies in the middle. Don't be desperate. Don't be detached to the point of coldness. Live in the balance. Strength with compassion, clarity with kindness. When you notice the irresistible sign, act with grounded confidence. When you misread, accept with humility. When signals are mixed, value your peace of mind above uncertainty. That's the Stoic way. And when you live like this, you don't just decode attraction, you become attractive. The final word, narrator. So, let's bring it all together. We've explored the depths of attraction, the psychology of presence, the traps of overthinking, and the wisdom of Stoicism. And through it all, one truth stands firm. The one irresistible sign that she secretly wants you is this: she chooses to be around you when she doesn't have to. It's not about likes, glances, or clever words. It's about time, the most valuable resource we all have. When she invests her time, when she makes the choice to linger, to draw closer, to create moments with you, that's no accident. That's attraction, plain and simple. But here's the second truth. How you respond makes all the difference. If you chase, you lose. If you freeze, you lose. If you inflate your ego, you lose. The Stoic man, he stays calm. He observes without attachment. He leads with quiet confidence. And whether the outcome is love, friendship, or nothing at all, he remains grounded in his own strength. The Stoic promise. Narrator. Remember this. Stoicism isn't about being cold. It isn't about rejecting connection. It's about holding yourself steady when life is unpredictable. Attraction will come and go. Signals will be clear, confusing, or misleading. But the man who practices Stoicism doesn't lose himself in the storm. He becomes a lighthouse, steady, grounded, radiant. And people are drawn to him not because he chases, but because he shines. Closing inspiration. Narrator. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Stop chasing signs. Stop clinging to outcomes. Live with discipline, courage, wisdom, and kindness. Build yourself into the man who no longer needs validation, because your value is carved into your actions, your presence, your purpose. And when you do that, the signs won't just appear. They'll multiply, and you'll no longer ask, does she want me? Instead, you'll know, I am the kind of man who attracts naturally. That is the Stoic way. That is your path. Now go live it.